Hi, today we're going to give you a quick overview of the Flockport platform. Let's log in. This is the main view. All your servers are listed on the top main servers panel. All capabilities on the panels on the left. You can manage servers with the top left servers panel. Clicking on all will show you all the servers currently managed by Flockport. Tags let you group servers together, and you can click on individual tags to access only those servers. Notice the servers listed in the servers view change as we click on the different tags. Click on Manage to get the server management panel. Cluster stats will give you an overview of the cluster in terms of server nodes, CPUs, memory, disk space, and healthy and unhealthy nodes. Cluster usage gives you real-time information of the cluster in terms of CPU, memory, and disk usage, and also shows nodes under resources pressure. You'll get alerts in case any cluster goes over set resource usage targets. Cluster resources gives you an overview of total number of VMs and containers in the cluster and also how many are running. Lists all the server nodes in the cluster and details on the servers. You can group servers together by clicking on the tags. You can select servers and add and delete tags here. Add lets you provision servers. Enter a server name. This is up to the end user. The server IP. Flockport uses SSH to provision servers. The SSH username, port, and password or certificate. Once you click on Add, Flockport will provision the server and will become available in the main server view. Clicking on a server will load the Stats tab. This gives you a hardware level overview and metrics of the server. You can get an overview of disks, networks, memory, mounts, the OS, and the CPU. The rest of the tabs gives you access to containers, VMs, console, and host level metrics. You can quickly cycle through the servers to get a hardware level overview and metrics of the servers in your cluster. To deploy containers, click on the Containers tab. Clicking on LS will list all containers on the server. PS will give you an overview of running containers. You can select containers and get more information on them by clicking on the Info button. You can download containers from the App Store. The App Store provides a large number of applications, databases, development environments, and base OS images. So for instance, to use WordPress, just download it and you can access WordPress in your browser. No installation or setup required. You can also make clones and snapshots of containers and do things like forward ports. You can also push containers across servers in your cluster. This is hugely useful. So you can have servers in AWS and you can simply push your apps across to Azure with a single click. You're not locked into any provider and can migrate at a moment's notice. You can move apps across data centers, clouds, and servers seamlessly. With snapshots, you get a history of containers and also file system level differences between snapshots. You can set limits on containers in terms of CPU and memory. You can create and attach volumes to containers. Flockport has service discovery built in, so you get auto registration of services. You can add a service to a container and on startup it will publish the service to any available endpoint. More on that in a bit. You can also connect to object stores either S3 or deploy your own object store instance from the storage panel. This way you can directly export and import containers, snapshots and clones to and from the object store. Flockport provides a lot of networking flexibility. You can add multiple network interfaces to containers. You can build containers, enter a GitHub URL or a path to a recipe, and Flockport will build the container for you. The App Store is completely automated and built with recipes. You can get process level details of running containers with the CPS button. The VM tab lets you deploy VMs. We've tried to make it easy and similar to deploying containers. Just like containers, you get a VM store. You can download VM images and deploy them directly. LS will list all VMs. PS gives you an overview of running VMs. Info will give you details of your VMs. Just like containers, you can make clones, snapshots, and publish ports from the UI. You can list all the VM images on the host and see their usage. We've tried to provide a lot of flexibility and visibility. You can add and delete disks and networks. You also get service discovery built in. You can add services to VMs and this will then get published to endpoints. Let's start a VM and access its console to show you how easy it is. We'll enable the console and start the VM. We can then access the VMs console directly from the browser. The console gives you console and command line access to servers directly from the browser. The host tab gives you access to host level metrics. You can get an overview of all processes on the host, all the network processes, routes, and all network interfaces and the traffic flowing through them. You can also list and add networks here. You can click on a server and access the same capabilities on the server. The panels on the left give you access to more advanced capabilities. You can click on the App Store and deploy apps to any server in your cluster directly from here. All apps are signed and downloaded securely. You can sort apps by categories, and the App Store has a large collection of applications, developer environments, databases, and more. The Networks panel gives you access to advanced networking functions. You can deploy VXLAN, WireGuard, and BGP networks from here. These let you build networks to connect containers and VMs across hosts and also create secure encrypted links over the public cloud, all with a single click. The Storage panel lets you deploy NFS volumes, object stores, and distributed storage pools. The Services panel lists all the service discovery endpoints. You can deploy discovery endpoints here, ingress controllers to serve your container apps, and also load balancers. You can add endpoints and also monitor all published services and the health status checks from here. The Databases panel lets you deploy replicated databases. You can create a new database cluster with the Add Cluster button. Flockport currently supports MySQL, PostgreSQL, Galera, Cassandra, and Elasticsearch databases, with more to follow. To create a cluster, select the database, the replica count, the deployment server group, and the allowed subnet. Once you click on Add, the cluster will be deployed and become available in the List Clusters view. You can scale the cluster to more replicas, make snapshots, and also export and import databases. Not only can you roll out database instances, you can also create and delete databases directly from the UI. You can also deploy individual instances directly from the UI. The Log Server panel lets you deploy multiple log servers to consolidate your logs across your applications, containers, and hosts. We use Elasticsearch and Kibana, so you can consolidate your logs directly from the UI and then access them in Kibana for analytics and alerting. Flockport gives you fine-grained user control. You can create users by role and limit access by resources. So different users will get different views of the UI depending on the privilege level. You can also generate temporary time-bound tokens. So there's a lot of flexibility in offer. The KMS module gives you access to key management and encryption. You can create key pairs and generate encryption and decryption tokens here. You can also directly encrypt files from across the cluster from the UI. You also get a secrets manager that is accessible both from the UI and the API. The limits module lets you place limits on resource usage cluster-wide. You can get cluster-wide network usage by interface and place limits on these network interfaces. You can also place limits on containers and VMs across the cluster in terms of CPU, memory, and disk usage from here. The App Scheduler lets you deploy apps with end-to-end lifecycle management. Click on List Jobs to see all deployed jobs. To deploy a job, enter a name, the count, the server group, any service to associate with the job. Once you click on add, the job will be deployed. Once deployed, you can scale job instances up and down and upgrade jobs with a single click. This way you only manage one image and not hundreds, and this is a more robust and efficient way to manage updates across hundreds of instances compared to updating individual servers and applications. The scheduler also has auto recovery built in. All deployed jobs are monitored, and on job failure, a healthy image is replaced, and on host failure, the jobs are rescheduled to a healthy host. Flockport also provides a cloud technology platform that is designed to give users the same flexibility and ease of use that they've come to expect from the public cloud. This allows you to deploy V instances, V subnets, and C instances. To create an instance, select an instance size, the base OS, the vSubnet in which you want to launch your instance. We can also use an SSH key pair. You can create key pairs with the add key button and then use this to log into your instances. Once you click on create, the instance will be created and become available in the list view. PS will show you the running state of instances. You can create snapshots of instances and create vdisks and attach them to instances. You can also add and delete tags, list vSubnets from the instances panel itself. The vSubnets panel lets you create and manage vSubnets. You can create and delete vSubnets here. C instances are container versions of V instances. To create a C instance, select the size, the OS, the vSubnet in which you want to launch the C instance, and once you click on create, it will get deployed. You can click on list to list all C instances. You can also create snapshots and volumes and attach them to C instances. And just like in V instances, you can add and delete tags.